help you.
All right, a Fox News alert for you is the White House compiling a health care email list to push its plan. It is a question our Major Garrett was trying to get an answer to, and then it got down to this.
Do you in any way seek databases or information about people who might be interested in health care?
I will certainly check. I will certainly check it. I'm not under that impression.
Folks have emailed, they'd like to know how they get an email from the White House when they never asked for one.
I'd be interested to see who you got that email from and whether or not they're on the list. I don't.
Well,
may I follow up politely on one of the major?
Let me finish needling Major.
This row, please.
Again, I just want to be, but I just want to be very.
What you're telling me is I need to give you these people's emails so you can check them on a list. I'm just asking.
Well, you're asking me if they're on a list. If you can figure out a different way of checking without asking me to double check the name, I'm happy to.
They're telling me they can't be on a list because they never asked for an email from the White House.
What I'm saying is I'd have to look and see.
So you don't have an explanation for how someone who's never signed up and never asked for anything from the White House would get an email from David Axelrod?
I hesitate to give you an answer because you might impugn the motives of the answer.
Why would you say that?
Because of the way you phrase your follow-up. I'd have to look at what you got, Major. I appreciate the fact that I have omnipotent clarity as to what you've received in your email box today.
I have omnipotent clarity. You don't have to impugn anything. I'm telling you what I got. Emails from people who said they never asked anything from the White House, and yet they received something.
We can let me go to someplace else that might be constructive.
All righty, that went well. All right, so Major, if you're trying to get out of the doghouse, this and a little exchange today did not seem to foster that process. How's it going now?
Neil, I'm not in a doghouse. I don't try to get out of a doghouse. I don't try to get into a doghouse. I just try to ask questions.
Well, let me be the first to tell you are in a doghouse, but continue.
Well, be that as it may, I'll be here at the White House every day. David Axelrod sent out an email today on behalf of the President's health care initiative. I received some emails from folks today who said, wait a minute, I never asked for anything from the White House. I've never engaged the White House on the website. I've never sought anything from the White House. How did I get this? I didn't really, if folks watch special reports tonight, they'll see I'm doing a completely separate story on health care about biologics, which is an interesting story in of itself. But I didn't go to the briefing intending for this to become an enormous controversy. All I wanted to try to find out is if there was some plausible explanation for how people who never asked for any information from the White House on health care or any other issue would suddenly find emails from the senior advisor to the President in their email box. You saw what happened. I'm still working on it. I would say right now it's slow going. Things are a bit frosty, but I didn't go to the briefing for the agenda. My appearance on your show is not evidence that I had an agenda. I'm just trying to find out what I think is an answer to a legitimate question.
All right. Now, what's an issue here is whether the White House and from the White House, these sort of emails were being sourced. And that would be a bit of a game changer, would it not?
If it's true, and I have no evidence to suggest that it is, Neil, I'm just asking. And I'll tell you one thing legitimately that probably set Robert Gibbs on edge a bit, and we had a, let us say, spirited conversation after the briefing about this, was in the preface to one of my questions, I mentioned Organizing for America, which is a political arm of the Democratic National Committee. And Robert said, look, stop saying that there's any possibility that Organizing for America or the DNC and the White House could have similar lists or use similar lists. And that upset him, probably legitimately. I should not have done that because there is no evidence whatsoever that anything that's at the Democratic National Committee comes anywhere near the White House in this healthcare debate or anything else. I want to get that on the record absolutely clearly. That set Robert on edge, but I still want to find out answers to these other questions about is there a list at the White House and how they obtain email addresses for people who never asked them for anything on this or any other issue.
All right, that I understand. Major,
and when we know more, we'll tell more.
Okay, obviously from a diner across the street. Major Garrett, thank you. Glenn Beck, now.
In today's cloudy mortgage